Hey guys, it's Jaylon. Welcome back. I'm here today furiously trying to finish all of my videos before the end of the year. We'll see if I can do it. I'm here today to share with you my update for the Paint in Every Palette project. This is a project that I was inspired to start by watching Paula at a Beauty Guru's videos on this series. And the original inspiration for this project was Lady Pants a Lot over on Instagram. I will leave all the information down in the description box. So the way that I do this project is I have 5 palettes that I have randomly selected for me, but where I pick the shade. And then middle of the year, or maybe, middle of the year sometime, I added in 3 additional palettes that were all both randomized and where random shadow is selected for me. So that's kind of how I manage this project. I think I added the 3 additional palettes in after I finished my Pan That palette this year. You know, it's been a while. That was in September. I forgot a lot since then. I'm also going to share with you how things are going with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette and my Baby Pan That palette, which is the MAC little duo that I have. So I'll share with you how I'm doing with those at the very end. Okay, let me share with you the palettes that I was working on. So I'll first start with the ones that are randomized, but where I pick the shade. The first one is the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum palette. Next, we have the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. From Colored Raine, we have the Queen of Hearts palette. From Viseart, we have the Petite Pro 5 Soleil palette. And from ColourPop, we have the It's My Pleasure palette. Now the palettes that were completely randomized, including the palette and the shadow, I have the Lime Crime Venus 3 palette, the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, and lastly, the Viseart Petite Pro 2 palette. So I'm happy to report I have 2 palettes that I hit pan on. The second of which I hit pan today, which is very exciting. So let me share with you what those were. Now I have one in each category. So the first one is in my the one where I pick the shadow. And this is from the Colored Raine Queen of Hearts palette. And this is the one that I hit pan on today. The shade that I was working on is Royal Highness. So it's this one here. As you can see, there's my pan. I really do love this palette and this shadow. It's so pretty. It's a gorgeous neutral taupe. I consider that a very nice neutral taupe shade. It's beautiful. So I am wearing it today. It's kind of on the center of my eye. So pretty. Now the second palette that I hit pan on is from a shadow that was randomly chosen for me. And it's from the Naked Cherry palette from Urban Decay. And the shade that I was working on is Juicy, which is, as you can see right here. Now, I did use a couple of other shadows in this palette as I was working on it. So I've used Devilish, which is right here. I've used this shade here, which is Bing. I've also used Feels, mostly the mattes. Oh, and I also used the very last one here at the end, this dark brown in Privacy. So I did kind of dip in here every once in a while to grab a shade that I felt worked with the eye look that I was doing. But I'm happy that I have pan in this palette. So 2 palettes out. We will select 2 new palettes today. Very exciting. Okay, let me go through the other. Oh wait, I didn't swatch Juicy. There's Juicy. It was a really great crease shade. Really great crease shade. I really did enjoy that. So let me take these 2 shadows off since we've hit pan on them, or I've hit pan on them, and I will show you the other palettes I'm working on. Okay, from the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette, I'm working on the shade Peach Punch, which is this one here. I do have a slight dip going, but as you can see, I'm nowhere near pan on this. It's a great shadow, and there's cat hair on there. Sorry about that. It's just, there's a lot of, it's tightly packed and there's a lot of shadow in here. So there we go. There's the shade. And I've been using a few other shades in this palette as well. So I've been using, this one here, which is Peach Tea I used Just Ripe today, actually. And then I've used this one. Is it this one? Yeah, Peach Cobbler. I've used that one. And Peach Sangria. Oh, and then this one here, this dark matte as well, with chocolate dipped. So, I mean, it's got some use, but not a lot. I've used it a lot. It's just not showing very well. Still working on that. From the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum palette, I'm working on the shade Junkie. And it is this one here. So I do have a nice dip going in that shadow. I just don't know how deep these pans are, because these are supposed to be like 1.3 grams of eyeshadow or 0.05 ounces, which is a lot of eyeshadow. Like MAC singles have 0.03 ounces, I believe. So it's going to take me some time, I think. Again, I'm wearing this on the very outer portion of my eye. This is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love this color so much. Anytime I wear a color like this, I will throw this on my eyes because it's so pretty. Still working on that. Hopefully, I'm hoping I'll hit pan on that maybe by the next update. That's kind of something I would like to do, to roll it out, but we'll see how that goes. Then from the Viseart Petite Pro 5 Soleil palette, I have this gold shimmery shade right here. Well, coppery gold shimmery shade. I think these have names, but they're not named in the palette. Yeah, they don't have names on it. Anyway, I have not used this one too much, to be honest. It's nice. It's much better over a glitter glue. There we go. And I think now that I've hit pan in the Queen of Hearts palette, I'll probably incorporate this in with these other two shades. What I've really liked doing recently is to mix Peach Punch with an Inglot shadow that I have that I'm working on, which is kind of it's like a taupe, mauve taupe. It's this one here. And that has really been pretty. I also have been mixing the peach, like today, I mixed the peachy shade with peach tea. So to kind of tone down the brightness of it for more of a winter look. At least trying. But anyway, this one I haven't even touched, so it's going to be a little while. Then the last palette in the section where I selected the shades is the ColourPop It's My Pleasure palette. And I am working on the shade Chiclet, which is this purple, dark purple metallic shade. So I do have a nice dip going in there, but again, nowhere near pan. I pretty much use this anytime I do a purple look. It's nice on the very outer part of my lid. It's really pretty. Gorgeous. Now the two palettes that are left in the completely random section from my Viseart Petite Pro 2, I'm working on, I almost stuck my fingernail in there, on this dark purple matte shade. So I do have a nice dip going in this. It's kind of like a wide dip, but I'm not close to hitting pan on this either. It is a very, very compacted shadow. In fact, I can't even get a decent... I do this every single time. I can't get a decent swatch by just sticking my finger in there. So I'm going to use a brush to get a swatch. It's a nice, like, dusty purple shade. It's pretty. And I did use this on the outer corner of my eye today as well. And lastly, we have the Lime Crime Venus 3 palette. Oh, I couldn't say that, which is this one here. And I'm working on the shade Heavenly, which is this shade here. This is, again, randomly selected for me. So this is a really nice, like, taupey purple tinged shade. It's really pretty too. It's a little bit sheer, so it's probably better as a topper. I like to use this on the very inner portion of my eye. It's much better over a tacky base, but it's a pretty shade. Okay, so those are the shadows that I'm currently working on. So now is the time for us to select 2 new palettes. I have all of my palettes put into a wheel on a website called Wheel of Names. It's in like this little thing. So that's how I'm going to select the palettes that we're going to bring in. So here we go. This is the one where I choose the shade. What do we get? Nabla Dreamy. Exciting. Okay, now this is the one that's going to be completely random. Natasha Denona Sunrise Palette. Okay. Let me grab that real quick. Okay, here's the Sunrise Palette. It's gonna. Let me see how much shadow's in here. So there's still a lot of shadow in here. It's like 0.045 ounces. So still a pretty decent amount of shadow. But here is the palette. So there are 15 shadows in here. This is not really a winter palette, but let's see what we get. So let me pull up Pretty Random and go from 1 to 15. So here we go. Let's randomize. Shade number 1. Oh, I can do that. It's this one here. Pony. So it's normally this way. So here's the first shade. Oh, I'm sorry. Poppy. Not pony. Poppy. All right. I like that. It's pretty. Great outer lid shade. Or even on the lid. Okay. Very exciting. Natasha Denona palette. I've already had one of these in here. Well, not a big one, but you know, a 5-panner. That took forever. Now let me go grab the Nabla Dreamy palette and I will pick the shadow from that. So I'll be right back. Okay, here is the Nabla Dreamy palette. And I actually haven't looked inside this palette in a while. Oh. Pretty. Okay, which shadow? Oh my god, they're so dreamy. They're so creamy. Okay, I made my decision. So there are some gorgeous shadows in here. Gorgeous. Like this matte right here is stunning. Lullaby. Oh, it's beautiful. I could definitely use a dark brown like this. Although, you know, I have kind of dipped into the one in the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. This is still a nice shade. And, I mean, all the metallics in here are so pretty. But the one that I've decided to go with is this one right here, which is Inception. One of my favorite movies ever, FYI. This shadow is so pretty. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. I think it'll go great with Heavenly, with the, you know, I could potentially use it with this dark purple matte. Chicklet, I think it's versatile and it's a great wintry shade too. So very excited about that color. So pretty. So pretty. Now these have, let's see, does it say how many ounces? So they have a little over 0.03 ounces, which is about what you'd find in like a, you know, a pot shadow, like MAC pot shadow. So yeah, excited about this being brought in. Yay! So that is everything that I have going on for the Pan and Every palette project. Now let me share with you how things are going with the other 2 palettes I mentioned. So the first one is the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This was my Pan That palette last year, and I was just trying to finish a couple of shades, and I have. I have finished the last few shades in this palette and I can finally roll it out of my collection. So the last shadow that was kind of lingering on was Love Letter, which is right here. As you can see, I did finish that. I did also finish Golden Ochre, which was here earlier this year. So, you know, I could work on this shade here, but I honestly don't love it enough to keep it. And that's kind of the same with all the shadows that are left. I think if you love warm toned, looks, those shadows that are remaining would definitely be up your alley, but it's just not for me. So I'm done with this. I'm calling it done. It has served me well over the last 2 years, but I can say goodbye. Another palette out of my collection. Now the next one is this little duo. This is my Baby Pan palette, and this is a MAC duo. It just has 2 eyeshadows. They're both extra dimension eyeshadows. The shades are Just Gleaming and Snow Dusk. So this one is Just Gleaming and we have Snow Dusk. I honestly can't remember if the last time I showed this, if I had pan in this shadow or not. I think I did, but I do have pan in this now. I've been working on this for 2 years. So it's kind of like just whenever I need these shades, I reach for them. The pan in this has definitely expanded. It's much bigger than it was before. And if I did have pan in this shadow, I believe it's gotten bigger as well. But yeah, this one is still going to be around. I'll still be working on this. I'll probably provide updates every couple of months on this in this project. You know, not something that I feel like I need to update regularly on because I don't use it that frequently. If I start using it all the time because I need it, then I'll update more frequently on it. But for right now, it's just a palette that I kind of show whenever I feel like I have some decent progress. So excited to have 1 palette out of my collection and 2 pans and 2 palettes. So we have 2 new palettes coming in, which is very exciting. I think I said exciting or excited very, very frequently during this video. So here's our color story. Love how this is looking. I love the versatility of the shades. I think there's a lot of fun things to kind of pick from, fun colors to pick from. So yeah, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you're doing well, staying safe, having a great holiday. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. I got a new bedspread. Next we have the toothpaste. Was the Line Crime. Now the palettes where, so I'll share these with that. So I have all of my palettes in, okay, bye.